At the end of the day, gardening should be fun. We should be enjoying what we're doing. And I find it so easy to get bogged down with perfection, how is the best way to do it. And those are good, especially if you're learning or just starting out. But like I always say, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day today. My name's Cody, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by the farm. It's hard for me to believe that I've been doing this for 1 year already. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, to be honest with you, but it's been fantastic. I love the community that we're growing. I think there's, 150 of us now, or in and around there. So thanks for subscribing if you have. I really do appreciate that. It's fun to interact with everybody that does that as well. And yeah, if you're just checking us out, that's great too. But hard to believe, like I said, that we've already done 1 whole year. We are going to be planting up our show gardens, or our display gardens, for next spring, so people, when they come out to the farm, they can see what each variety is going to look like. Having the display gardens, I think, is a really neat part of what we do here. It allows people to kind of get hands-on and personal with the tulips that they're going to get for their fall planting. So yesterday was a busy day. I got all of the holes dug and prepped for that. I've also amended them with some bone meal, so I'm not going to go into too much detail there as far as what I've done. It's just opened up some channels here for the tulips, and I've also got holes planted all down there. I think that's the right direction, yeah. And so basically all I'm going to do now is put the different varieties in their holes, get them labeled, get them all planted up, and then that's pretty much it for the day. So I've got about 70 different varieties that we're going to be putting into our display garden this year. So it's going to be a busy day, but it's going to be a great day. So thanks for sticking out with me today, guys. I hope you have a great time watching me get to work here. But yeah, let's get to it. There we go. I have all of the varieties laid out for the display garden, so now all I need to do is get them into these holes. So just want to do, I guess, a quick recap on our tulip planting here. The main takeaway is, and what I like to do anyway, is it's a good general rule for bulbs anyway, but for tulips, 6 inches is kind of a standard mark. I like to think of it as, 2 to 3 times the height of your bulb is how deep you want to go. So this bulb's about 1.5 inches tall, so you can think about that as like 3 to 5 inches deep is a good rule of thumb. But I always think 2 to 3 times the height, just because we plant bulbs of varying different sizes, so smaller bulbs don't need to be quite as deep as a larger bulb. But each variety has its optimal, but what I like to do is just focus on something that's easy to remember, and so I'm not flipping back through Google and all those sorts of things. But that's basically it. Once I've got the hole dug, I do amend it with bone meal, which I've got in the hole here now. And the last part is to make sure that you put the flat side down, pointy side up. So the flat side here is actually where the roots are going to emerge, and you want them kind of facing downwards because, that's what roots like to do. Now the shoots are going to come out of the pointy end, so that's where your leaves and flowers are going to come from. So pointy side up, flat side down. And if you're planting, there's a few different ways you can go about doing it. I like to get them nice and tight. I don't really expect them to come back year after year. If they do, that's fantastic. If they don't, I'm okay with that too. So I like to plant them a little bit tighter just to get a bit more of a show out of them. And it's nicer for the display gardens too when people come to do tours in the springtime. You are able to plant them far apart if you want to. That doesn't matter. Also, feel free to mix them up if you want to do that. Add 2 or 3 different varieties. It makes it look really quite nice. For ease of the display gardens, what I'm going to do is plant each individual variety, and then I've just taken the little identifier tag that I had for our tulip sales. I put it in a Ziploc bag here, so it's waterproof, and once I get these planted, I'm just going to put this Ziploc bag in and around there, maybe put a rock or something on there just so it doesn't blow away, so that way over the winter I can make proper tags for these guys. But just as a way for me to remember, and then that way when people come out for tours, they can see the variety firsthand, how that does in our climate, how it does with our growing conditions and those sorts of things. So that way when they want to go to buy tulips in the fall, they've had that opportunity to see how they do in our area. So that's a huge explanation for just flat side down, pointy side up. So I'm going to get these guys in here, and I don't know how many we're going to do. I'll just pour them in here first. Let's see. That looks pretty good. It's about 3/4 of them, so it's probably 75. There we go. Let me zoom in here, guys. All right, now that they're in their hole, they're all just kind of jumbled around there. That's fine. And what I can do next is I can just individually place them. Give them just a little bit of space. Ideally, I like to do about a fist width between the bulbs. I find that gives them, you know, pretty good amount of space to grow up and those sorts of things. But of course we all have different size fists, so that's going to be different for everybody. There are no hard and fast rules. A lot of it is just what you want to do, how you want it to look in the end. If there's too many, I'll just put them back in the bin. That's okay. At the end of the day, gardening should be fun. We should be enjoying what we're doing. And I find it so easy to get bogged down with perfection, you know, how is the best way to do it. And those are good, especially if you're learning or just starting out. But like I always say, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. You know, you could put these tulips, you could plant them straight upside down, and it's still going to produce a flower for you. It's not optimal, but that's okay. You know, there are very few things in life that are optimal, right? We're all just trying to do the best we can, and I think that's pretty darn good. Some more over here. There we go. So this is a little bit more spaced out than if you were growing them for cut flowers, but it's also a little tighter than if you're growing them for, you know, your own garden, those sorts of things. So kind of a nice mix in between. I think we'll get a really nice show come springtime. Oh, this variety, in case you're wondering, it's called Zombie, which is fitting because Halloween is on Monday. It is a red and white striped tulip. It looks beautiful. But anywho, now these are all done, and I think they look pretty good. There might be some, you know, that are sideways or not the right way, and that's okay. Like I say, I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm looking for pretty good, and I think I've got that. So now the last thing to do is just bury these guys back over. Bringing that soil on top here. And a good mixing. Pat her down. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to leave. Maybe I'll bury it just a wee bit. Hold that over. Stick it out there. Just have a little bit out there so we know what it is. But anywho, that's pretty much it. There we go. One down, 60 something to go. There we go, we got our first 4 varieties in there. They've got their labels on them, which is light years ahead of what I did last year. So every year, you know, we make little improvements, and eventually, you know, we might get to somewhere half decent. But anyway, now I have a few of each variety left over in their bins. They're not going to go to waste, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these in with our U-cut flowers, or our tulip for sale flowers. And yeah, just add a lot more nice variety in there too. So I'm going to get them all just kind of mixed up here together. Like that. There we go, we got this one. There we go. And yeah, I'm going to add these to our U-cut operation as well. So there's still going to be an opportunity, which I think is super cool. People can come out, they can see how each variety looks in the garden. They have labels, so they know what those varieties are, and they might even be able to find them in our U-cut garden. So when we do tours in the spring, it's kind of like that all-encompassing tulip festival feel. So I'm super, super excited about that. Yeah, very, very excited. So anyway, I'm just going to rip through these last, 60 varieties and keep moving on with the day here. So let's get back to work. Okay, just have a few more varieties, I think 10 or 11 more to get in for tulips anyway, and figure I'm just going to open up the holes, make them a little bit bigger, try to see if I can't get more in them just to have a bit of a better show. So, got my trusty hole opener here, and I'm just going to try to get these guys propped up a wee bit, so let's give her a go. I find this pickaxe to be one of the most effective ways to work the ground. Is you can see it goes pretty quick. There you go, and within no time, doubled the size of that hole. There we go, and yeah, like I say, it's a bit heavier, but it works like a charm. So I got 9 more of these to do, so back to work. There we go, so got 10 of those holes doubled up there so we can get a lot more bulbs in each hole. I think it's just going to make for a more impactful show for Tulip Fest. Now we get to go plant. Sometimes we compare what other people are doing to what we're trying to do, and we get discouraged just because we can't really compete with what they're doing, because what they're doing is well, professional, you know, and we're just out here having fun. So it's more than okay to take your bulbs and just dump them in a hole like that and then spend no time. I'm just going to space them out like that, and that's it. I'm just going to bury them in now, and nature will take over from there. So absolutely, some of them might be upside down or on their side, and some of you, if any of you are professional engineers out there, I'm sure you're screaming at the screen right now, but like I say, nature is pretty smart. She's survived a heck of a long time before we came on the scene, and I think she's going to do a lot better. Well, she'll continue long after we're off the scene, so she knows what she's doing, and it's just kind of, yeah, it's a nice reassuring. I guess the long and the short of it is, don't be so hard on yourself. Enjoy it, and if that's how you garden, that's fantastic. That's awesome, right? That's, I think, a good way to look at it. There we go. And so, yeah, that was probably just 300 bulbs done in, I don't know, a minute or so. And yeah, no fuss, no muss. If you remind me in the springtime, I'll come back to this area and show you guys just how they kind of right themselves and they take care of the someone situation for them. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. Well, okay there, everybody. That is a day. So I think a final count was 73 different varieties of fall bulbs. Most of them were tulips, and I think that's kind of what people are more after. Plus, for a tulip festival, it just kind of makes sense. It is nice to have those little accent plants as well, you know, whether it's snowdrops, early snow glories, or what are they called? Hens, what are those guys called? Hen's flower or something like that, you know, the ones that bend over there, and they look nothing like a chicken. But anyway, I am going to call it a day there, guys. So I want to thank you so much for following along with me today. I hope you got some enjoyment out of it, and I can't wait to show you this when it comes into springtime. It's just one of my favorite times of year when the tulips start to bloom here. But that's where I'm going to leave it, guys. So thanks again so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, guys, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye now.